In fact, over 98% of our genome is identical to that of a chimpanzee. We have essentially all of the same genes, but the DNA sequences are slightly different. That tiny 2% accounts for almost every difference we can observe between chimps and humans. Evolution is a change over time in inherited characteristics. Natural selection explains how organisms get selected by their environment. A common misconception is that organisms are always getting better, like climbing up a ladder. Many also believe that organisms that are bigger, stronger, and faster are favored by natural selection. Our second question revealed that a large percentage of all age groups do not quite understand natural selection.
The common misconception is that organisms that are bigger, stronger, and faster are the ones that survive. 50% of adults show this misconception, along with 28% of middle school students and 38% of elementary school students.
So what does survival of the fittest mean? It isn't always the strongest or the fastest animal that survives. Sometimes it's the right color, the ability to find food, or any other number of traits.
Natural selection takes advantage of whatever traits make an organism more successful and more likely to reproduce. Sometimes the trait might be color. In this scenario, the yellowfish are more visible to the predator than the aquafish. The predator will find the yellowfish more easily and eat them. As time goes by, the population of yellowfish will decrease. The aqua-colored fish will escape the predators more often and be able to pass their genes on to the next generation. This final scenario demonstrates how a trait such as a color can be selected by nature.
In the field of microbiology, we can see interesting traits are selected by nature. Take the human immunodeficiency virus. It isn't necessarily the biggest or the fastest viruses that succeed. It depends on very different abilities. When HIV infects a human cell, the virus replicates quickly and thousands of copies invade the bloodstream. Every time the virus reproduces, random genetic mutations or changes occur. This produces slightly different viruses. Sometimes, just by chance, one of the viruses has a new trait that makes it resistant to a medication. The resistant virus is favored by natural selection when the medication enters the bloodstream. The other viruses die out when the mutated virus is unaffected. Within hours or even minutes, the virus in the patient is no longer affected by the medication. In the end, natural selection always works on whatever the organisms have to offer. Any trait that helps the organism survive and reproduces will be favored.
Today we face issues that require a strong foundation in science. We have to make decisions that have a positive influence on future generations. Take global climate change, for example. We asked for the respondents' opinions on whether they thought global climate change was real or not. If they did believe it was real, we asked if they thought human activities were responsible for it. The results were interesting. 152 adults were surveyed in Brunswick, Maine, and the surrounding area. 80% of the adults believe global warming is real and believe that humans have helped cause global warming. We're lucky because so many people in our community take this issue seriously. Therefore, we have the ability to make positive changes. We decided to compare our data with a bigger survey. Over 1,000 adults were surveyed in June of 2010 by the Yale Project on Climate Change Communication and the George Mason University Center for Communication. Edward Maibach of George Mason University was involved with the project. The study from Yale and George Mason University project shows that only 61% of the adults believe that global warming is real, compared to our community with 80%. When asked to assume it is real, only 57% of the respondents believe that humans are responsible.
Earth was created about 4.5 billion years ago, and for 3.5 billion of those years, life has been present. The current human species evolved about 200,000 years ago. This is only 1/4000% of the Earth's existence.
During that time, somehow our human race managed to raise the carbon dioxide levels higher than they have been in the last 650,000 years. Why are they so high? Well, it's simple: industrialization. When we transition from an agricultural society to a manufacturing society, like in the last 150 years, we burn considerably more fossil fuels, which in turn releases more greenhouse gases, such as carbon dioxide or CO2. The gases rise into the atmosphere and trap heat from the sun. Some energy gets radiated back into space. This is necessary for life on Earth, but not at this magnitude. The more fossil fuels we burn, the more CO2 levels rise, trapping more heat from the sun. So with the CO2 levels rising at this rate, the temperature of our planet is rising with it, a direct correlation. This isn't just one of the Earth's temperature cycles, either. In the past 650,000 years, we've had 7 of these cycles. The cycle we are in now doesn't fit the pattern of the rest because the rate of change is so much more drastic than the previous cycles. In fact, according to the pattern, theoretically, we should be in a cooling trend right now. So why are people resistant to the idea that humans have helped cause global warming? Why do some think climate change isn't real? One reason might be the term climate. Weather changes year to year, but climate refers to the average weather conditions in an area over time. In a study conducted by Yale University, 74% of Americans confuse these two. They think climate change refers to a yearly change in the weather. This misconception leads people to doubt that global warming is happening, or that humans play a role in it.
Climate change is not a wildly disputed idea. In fact, 98% of climate scientists agree that it was caused by human activities.
So now that we've collected all of this data, what are we supposed to do with it? What can we really take away?
Science matters. In today's world, we need an understanding of science to make good choices that will affect our lives and the lives of future generations.
We challenge students across the country to see what their communities know about science. Good, bad?
Yes. Okay, now let's just play seesaw.
All right. Oh, wait.
Whee!
Oh. That really hurt.
Sorry about that.
Wait, stop. You don't have Mentos.
Yeah, that's why I was confused.
That's what kind of odd was
This
it wrong?
Scene 3, take 10. Ow, marker.
Nice. Sorry, just a second.
Oh my god.
Life is dependent upon the vitality of our economy. To maintain a strong economy,
Ideas about science. When we have
17% of elementary students showed an understanding. This isn't surprising, as they may not have already. Would you guys stop laughing at me?
Here's the file for question master.
Thank you, Igor.
How's your question, brother?
Thank you, Curry.
You're welcome.
Not so easy being green. I've created hand sanitizer.
what nefarious purposes can we use this for?
Sanitize.
Kills 99.99% of all living creatures.
In a study conducted by Yale University, 74% of Americans confuse these two. They think climate change refers to a yearly change in the weather. This misconception leads people to doubt that global warming is happening, or that humans play a role in it.
Climate change is not a wildly disputed idea. In fact, 98% of climate scientists agree that it was caused by human activities.